What's going on, guys? It's a Sunday night, and the question is, what the hell am I doing on a Sunday night? Well, guys, my wife was out. I had a lot of free time. I actually was playing games all day, and I figured, you know what? Let me do a little Sunday night talk because I was in some spaces, you know, the new thing people are doing on Twitter, and it was kind of cool. And I figure if I'm still up doing nothing, and I'm not going to be all day, guys, because my wife just came home, actually. So, but one guy I know he was talking as well. And I was like, what are you doing in here? Since we're both up, it's Sunday night. We both love gaming. Let's just have a little Sunday night gamer talk. So I got with me the man who doesn't need any introductions. You might see his name and say, whoa, this guy. But trust me, guys, he is far away from, well, I don't know. He used to troll a little bit. Anyway, guys, let me just bring in my guy, the maker of chaos. What's up, brother?
Nothing much, just gaming as usual.
Hey, I love it, man. Listen, today I was trying to get into gaming myself. I was playing I started off playing some Avengers for a couple hours. Then I started playing some Riders Republic. I was playing a little bit of WWE Battlegrounds, and some Streets of Rage. It was pretty cool, man.
Yeah. I beat Death's Door, which is a game on Steam and Xbox. I beat that on Friday night, I believe, actually. And then I've been playing ukulele because I'm doing an A through Z challenge of games, and I'm on Y. So it's either ukulele or
done.
Yeah. I was trying to knock it out. I think I'm gonna go for Z because I've already beat Zombie Army 4. I was thinking Zombie Drivers, and it's supposed to be a really quick game on Steam, and I was gonna try and knock it out with that one.
How much are you playing the game?
How much am I playing the game? I mean,
yeah, like you have to play, like, in order to do your A through Z. Do you have to beat a game?
I have to beat them. I have to like completely beat it, like get to the credit scene.
See, I seen Cloud Gaming Dad doing the A through Z, but I didn't know. I just thought every week you play a game. I didn't know you're supposed to.
I think that's what he's doing. The A to Z challenge I'm doing, you have to beat a game from A to Z.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
I actually have a full
wait.
list
So that don't mean you have to go. You don't have to pick a game. Start with A and then beat that game, and then beat a game with B. You're just beating a game from the beginning to end.
Well, no. I have to beat a game with A, beat a game with B, beat a game.
Oh,
yeah,
Maker, you are an animal, bro.
Yeah, I play a lot of games, especially since I work night shift. Okay. So I get some downtime from time to time.
Gotcha. Man, we keep meeting up on YouTube. We meet up enough. We might have to do a show.
I might be able to do a show here and there, but I'm pretty stacked right now with making content for Cloudy, and I'm on Dr. Spaceman's show now on Thursdays.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, that's cool, man. Dude, we got to talk about this. GeForce Now. Whoa, dude.
It's a big jump. Honestly.
It's a big jump. You know, the cool thing is, I've always been the power guy, right? Like I always tell people, like, dude, I was so into Destiny that when Part 2 came out, I bought a 4K 70-inch TV and a PlayStation 4 Pro because I wanted to play it as graphically the best I can, right? And I was a PlayStation guy, so I know the Xbox at the time was more powerful. But so now that I kind of just play on Stadia, I play so casual, right? I play basic, being below casual. But the old me was like 3080, and I'm not a PC guy, but I've been around enough PC guys lately to know 3080, 120. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. That's impressive. And because I'm always debating and going back and forth with the console guys, and I'm a cloud guy, it just made it. Listen, I was using, you probably seen on Twitter, I was using GFN just to troll so many console guys because it's impressive, man. And I don't care who likes it or not. It's pretty impressive. What are your thoughts?
Yes, especially since the 3080s are really hard to get right now. So It opens up to a lot of people who might not have access to one, and through GFN, they'd be able to have a similar performance.
Sure.
And I know a lot of PC gamers are gonna, they usually use 1440p monitors right now, just because for
It's the sweet
price
spot,
for
people say.
yeah, because those 4K 144 hertz or in 120 hertz monitors are expensive. I was actually just looking at one because I saw it mentioned on Twitter, and with HDR, you'd be looking at 900 for that one, for that monitor.
Oh, I was hoping it was like 4 or 5.
No, about 400 is typically for a 60 hertz. Like generally, it sticks around 250 to 400 for 4K 60 hertz, and that's without HDR. So,
right.
It's pricey for those monitors. So that's why a lot of people stick to the 1440p, because those are much more affordable. Like for $400, you could get one with like HDR, 144 hertz, all the bells and whistles.
Nice. It's so, but I mean, 1440, because 2K is what, like 2180, right? Something like that. 21 something, right?
It's technically 1440p, 2K. It's about 2000.
Yeah, something like that, right?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering how much of a difference is 1440 120 versus 4K 120. You know what I'm saying?
It's gonna be a difference.
Yeah, it's like, is the extra money really worth it? You know what I'm saying?
I would say it's up to the person. If you got cash to spend, I say go 4K.
Gotcha.
It's nice, but for the most part, mostly TVs are going to have really, they're the more affordable if you're going 4K, just because there's a little bit more latency with a TV, and that's why the monitors are so expensive, is because you want that low latency for PC gaming.
Man, well, a lot of TVs got game modes nowadays, but well, what if you just get an NVIDIA Shield, right?
Yeah, you can definitely do that, and it'll upgrade the GFN to 4K.
But then what is your TV? It's cool to have you on here because I had a lot of questions. But what about your TV itself? Don't it have to be something adequate, right?
I mean, you want a decent TV if you're console gaming. There's several.
If you had an NVIDIA Shield, right? Because that's just help me out because I'm just saying. That's what you hook up to a TV. Like NVIDIA Shield TV is something you hook up to your TV, right?
Yeah.
And so you could play GeForce Now through that, but it will upscale to 4K, right?
Yeah.
So
it'll play that 4K.
Yeah, but does your TV itself has to be a certain something?
Oh, it has to just be compatible with 4K. And as long as it's a 4K TV, it should be fine.
Okay.
At least that's my understanding. I don't actually own a Shield. Most of my gaming is done on my PC setup because I've got a decent sized monitor and I run it through that. And yeah, but it's only 60 hertz, and that's why I was looking at the higher hertz 4K monitor. Right. But it's pricey, man. And I just spent like $1,200 on my graphics card, which is a 3080 Ti. So yeah.
Oh, so you your PC, you could build PCs and all that?
Yeah. I've been building PCs for around 13, 14 years. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Nice. So you could, I mean, you yourself know like 200 a year isn't bad.
200 a year it's not bad considering the cost of a lot of these graphics cards right now. The fact that you can't get them is another problem. I know the 3080 is easily going over probably $1,300, $1,400 from like the scalpers market,
Gotcha.
And yeah.
So let's talk real world. Let's break this down, Maker. So next month, the world is going to have cloud gaming. That's going to be running a 3080, 1440, 120. And that's pretty much going to be. Go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to mention the specs that they're going to set up for each set server blade, like instance, for the 3080s is about the equivalent of what my PC is. Granted, I have a 3080 Ti, so that's a little bit better. But I spent like $3,000 for the whole rig. So if that tells you something, that you're saving a lot of money. Like if you want a high end, like have a high end gaming experience, but not pay the ridiculous price that I did. Yeah, it's. I would say it might be worth checking out, seeing if it's something that you want. But I wouldn't say it's for everybody.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I think it's if the people who are like the power narrative. You know, I think the PC guys, some tech guys are gonna be like, whoa, you know. I think it's cool, man. Me personally, I don't think it's one negative I could think of. You know,
it's just
I thought
more
of the
options.
cost. Yeah, it's more options. I thought of the cost, but I feel like when you look at it, so this is what I did when I was trying to subjectively look at the cost. I was like, okay, if a PlayStation 4, okay, sorry, if a PlayStation 5 digital, not disc, right? So if a PlayStation 5 digital is 400, that means if you could pay for that, right, and get just that, or you could pay for the GFN, right, the 3080, right, which is going to be more powerful. But I'm looking at two systems that don't have a disc, right, or platforms. Let me just use platforms. So then in 2 years, you would have paid the same amount as that, but then every year after, you'll pay 200 extra. So it's like, well, but then I had to tell myself, yeah, but it's gonna outdo what that thing could do. So
it'll be able to play those games more consistently throughout time, especially since it's in the cloud and they're going to constantly upgrade it. So I'm assuming that they're going to have this premium tier, the 200 a year, and that they will upgrade it over time, similar to how Stadia or xCloud and all that would want to do.
Right.
So you know, the 4000 series comes along, they'll upgrade that, and then the 3080s go to priority.
Now, here's what I need to see though, Maker. I need to see some developers take advantage of it though. Like I'm assuming that so PC games are still PC games, so there's still going to be PC games that was made for native hardware anyway that you're going to be able to play on there. It's going to look amazing, right? So I guess in sense, because I'm looking at it like this, it's still at the end of the day, it's going to be a game that could be on a PC or a console, but it's just going to look, on a console anyway, it could look better. But the question is, it's not like it's going to bring something new to the table. It's just going to allow you, the average person who's willing to spend that much, to have access to that powerful of a platform.
Exactly. Yeah, you'll have access to that powerful of a quote unquote PC, and you're completely right that you'll need a game that officially utilizes that. What I hope is that NVIDIA is working with EA to get Battlefield 2042 on there, because I think that would be an exceptional title to have on GFN and showcase the power, because you'll be able to run that on like really high settings with the 3080, and you know it should look great on the service.
Look who's dropped up in here, Doc. Doc, aren't you supposed to be sleeping right now, man? So I hope the price will drop on GFN just to stay competitive, because the truth is Stadia is free, like free. No, I mean I agree. I did say that, but unless Stadia ups their game, because people on Stadia, and I'm a Stadia guy, but people are complaining now that too many games are only in 30 frames, right? So we're talking. So let me ask you this, Maker. So it's good thing you're here, Doc, because Maker is a pretty intelligent guy. He knows way more about PCs and stuff than I do. So Maker.
Yeah.
So theoretically, you could look at it like the average PC rig that, like, all right, so let's say I buy Far Cry 6 for Stadia and it's only 30 frames. But you'll have, let's say, the GFN 3080 and you buy Far Cry 6. Can you play Far Cry 6 at 120? Is that the way it's going to go?
Yeah. It should be able to play it at 120. As long as the game allows up to, as long as they have like an uncapped frame rate, you should be able to play it up to 120.
Right.
But yeah,
Wow. So I mean,
and the consistency of like how powerful it is extremely helpful. There's already people finding out that if you have priority tier, so the one lower, some people are finding out that sometimes you'll connect to a 3060 rig, which is also pretty powerful of a graphics card. So I think it looks like NVIDIA is stepping up with like the power of what you'll be able to connect to.
right.
I do believe you're still connecting to some 2080s and stuff, and 2070s with the priority tier. But sometimes you'll get that 3060.
Now let me ask you this, Maker. What if
Mhm.
Stadia just end up, I saw somebody put a really cool post. They said, we're not saying NVIDIA's this is going to force companies, but maybe speed up companies. So imagine if Stadia just upgrade. Because you might help me out with this. Isn't
Yeah.
it somewhere someone said that Stadia games run at 120, but when we get them, they're lower. Is that a thing? I heard that before.
There's a forum post about how some of on the server side they'll be running faster than what is transmitted. I don't remember if they said 120 specifically, but some games do run at a higher frame rate from the server and send it over. I think it makes for a more consistent stream, I believe. Yeah, I think the one problem I have with the Stadia games, though, is a lot of those games are designed for Stadia. It would mean if Stadia were to improve its hardware, those developers would have to go back and modify the game and fix it so that it could run at those higher speeds with the better hardware, or even like increasing the level of detail and stuff like that.
Yeah, but here's my thing. So I'm trying to understand with the PCs, because it seems like PCs, like, okay, I was always a console guy. So you made a game for the console and it's going to do as much as it can, and that was it. But it seems like PC has this extra magic where somebody could make a game run at, let's say, 60, but you could tweak your PC and get more out of it than was ever intended. So why can't that be the same for Stadia then?
Well, the thing is, you can't. A lot of the settings you're not able to tweak with the Stadia ports, the games that they do provide on Stadia. So a lot of those settings are usually locked behind probably commands that the developers will be able to access and modify. Specifically, it'll probably be the what's it called? The files. Usually, there's like a set like sheet that has like this is the set frame rate, this is the set thing, and they'd be able to modify that. But usually it's a process because then they have to test the game, make sure it's running at that frame rate at a solid steady stream, and everything's working fine.
Well, let me ask you this. So now we're just going into speculation territory. Doc, if you want to come on here, you can. Just let me know. I'll send you an invite. So let me ask you this, Maker.
Yeah.
So the white labeling, how AT&T, we all know now that the AT&T thing, the Batman had like you was actually able to modify it. So and we're all speculating. I don't think that means Stadia has that ability. Obviously it's running off their hardware that they could have easily just added it just for that game, right? For AT&T. Because why would it be exactly the same, right? It wouldn't make sense. But the question is, being that we've seen Stadia's tech do that, obviously they had to create it to do that. I wonder if in the background somehow they could, if that was something they had access to, but they just never they didn't want to use it because maybe they want to gear more to the console gamers.
I definitely think that's the case. I mean, that's the same reason why Xbox ports typically don't have as many settings as the PC. So like there's more settings I can modify on my PC version than I can on the Xbox. But it would be a separate version. So if the developer specifically designed it to not list that stuff, they would have to go back and fix it so that it does show those settings. So that would be more work on the developer's part.
But games going forward,
if they had it unlocked prior, then yeah, it wouldn't be any work for the developer to modify those settings.
Right. That's what.
But,
Yeah.
yeah.
So let me ask you this, man, because I've been like messing with my console guys. What does this mean for people with a Xbox Series X? Which is funny that they left PlayStation out, but obviously because PlayStation, isn't as powerful. But man, all of the 3 times more powerful than the Xbox. Because honestly, I never saw the day it was going to be this soon that we were going to say cloud gaming could rival the or be not even rival, be more powerful than the consoles, right? So everybody say like, "Oh, what does this mean for Stadia?" But when I used to talk to my friends about Stadia and cloud gaming, they would just laugh like, "Oh, well, graphical fidelity isn't this, isn't that, isn't this." But as of next month, we're gonna literally, as cloud gamers, gonna be able to say there is a cloud gaming system, a platform out that will walk around consoles. Well, what are you thinking about with that, man?
I think the power of it shows the longevity of it, that it's going to
Okay.
last a while. And I think that's more important, because the whole reason why I invested in my PC is I want to build something and then I want it to last me for a while. And that's why I spent so much on it. I that's what I do with my PCs. I will upgrade every probably 5 to 7 years. I think the last upgrade before mine was about 7 years prior. So when I build them, I want them to last. I want to be able to run a lot of these games on high settings and run them effectively.
Come on, Maker. You mean to tell me in 2 years, if they by then they got like a 40-30, you're not gonna be enticed?
It depends on how big of a jump it was.
Okay.
I originally had a 2080 Ti card in my PC. I sold that, and then I got the 3080 Ti because
Okay.
the 3080 series was such a large jump from the 2080 series.
Okay.
It was it was a bigger portion than I
So
thought it was going to be.
I kind of get it. It's like what's going on Zero Games for me. He said, "What's up to you and me?" It's kind of like me and my phone. So I got the Note. Sorry, the Note. I got the Fold 3, right? And I had the original Fold, but I would not get the second one because I felt like it wasn't enough advancements in it. It just didn't make sense for me to get it,
Yeah, so for me, I wouldn't get a 40 series card or the 4000 series card for my PC unless it was a significant jump.
Okay.
And then I'd be thinking, I say significant. It was kind of shocking that a 3070 card was running as well as my 3080 Ti or 2080 Ti that I had prior. So I had like basically the best of that 2000 series effect.
So
kind of.
So how much better? So here's my thing, right? Let's say you have a lot of horsepower, right?
Mhm.
Let's say my car is a Mazda and you got a Lamborghini. We already know what's going to happen. But let's say that the road we're driving on just isn't even that far. It's not like you're going to drive, you know what I'm saying? You're just not going to be able to utilize this car.
Yeah.
So my question is to you is how much, like we already been having PCs forever, and PC guys are able to say like, oh, this is going to look better on a PC than a console. But the new consoles are pretty good, right? So if how much better, you know what I'm saying? Like, is it really is a 3080 gonna really make a game look that much better than the Xbox Series X?
It really depends on the port. Like for example, I'd say Cyberpunk looks significantly better on PC than it does on an Xbox. That's for sure. And
I
you probably won't.
I don't think the Xbox version is still not even the next gen version, right?
Exactly. That's the thing is that it depends on the game for PC, because there are bad PC ports. Just like there's bad Stadia ports. There's bad Xbox ports.
Right.
Like look at Cyberpunk on the Xbox One. It ran like crap. Though I would say console ports, you're less likely to get a bad port. I've seen several bad ports on PC, but it usually, for the most part, they seem to be focusing a lot more on PC than they used to. So you're seeing better ports PC side now. It used to be like real bad, like janky stuff where it would eat up your RAM and where like it would cause games to crash basically and lots of issues.
So let me ask you this, right? Let's get into latency. So the thing said the 3080 GeForce is going to be able to do 56 milliseconds versus a native plugged in your TV Xbox Series X. They said they're running at like what, 96, I think it said, or something, 90 something. So, dude, how is that possible?
It's several things. Typically, consoles aren't geared towards like having the absolute best latency. They're not a PC. As I said before, there's a lot of factors when it comes to from the console to the actual TV and stuff of that nature. There's, they could be using a wireless controller, and that causes even more latency. But I don't know specifically what they did to test it. I didn't really read up too much on it, but it seems like optimal settings, they were able to get 54 milliseconds of latency, which is quite the achievement on itself. But it's still not as good as like a hardwired PC that's always going to be the fastest to like a 1 millisecond.
And Vet is in the building. Say what's up, Maker.
Hey, Vet.
To bring forth the chaos. Man,
try.
I don't think you're a bad guy. I remember though, when I just knew you from being in chats, and I was like,
I'll mess with people sometimes.
Oh yeah. I used to be like, oh, that's that Maker guy, man. And then one time, here's what's crazy. I used to think you were a bad guy, right? Just seeing you trolling in chats, and then when you were on Cloudy, it just says Maker. So I didn't see the correlation. I didn't know that was you. And I was like, oh, the Maker dude is cool as hell. Like when I watched the Cloudy thing, right? And then I was like, one day I was like, wait, is he Maker of Chaos? And I think Duncan was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, snap. It blew my mind. Like, it's the same person. Can't be. It's funny. I get, what happens is, I told somebody earlier, man, Maker, you're going to laugh at me. When I was younger, I wanted to be a wrestler, man. I loved
hey, man.
My wife and I, when we watch wrestling, we'll sometimes not, like I'll be playing the game. I don't pay attention to the actual wrestling, but the story I'm glued in because it's a male soap opera to me, right? I watch wrestling like my whole life. I never stop. When some people's like, oh, that's where it was great. Well, I watched it from then, before then, and now, right? And let's be clear, I'm never going to get my chance to be a wrestler, right? I'm not big enough. I'm a little guy, right? But when I put on this cowboy hat and I stream, I get to be somebody, and I love to heal, right? So I play it up good, and I don't want sympathy either. Like, I get it. Some people's like, bro, he's an a-hole. I don't like him. And some people like try to defend me. No, Ray's like, no, I have talks with Anthony behind scenes. He's a good guy. But I know what I'm getting into when I throw on my cowboy hat and I talk my trash, And so I'm fine with what comes with it. So I used to see you as, I thought you were, this bad guy because you was, bro, when I see Maker Chaos in the chat, I'm like, this mother effer, man. And then I realized like, oh wow, and I'm watching you for a while, and like, oh, I like the Maker dude, man, he's pretty cool. And when I realized you was the same person, I was like, what? And I realized the same thing happens to me. Like if we was out in public, you'd be like, oh man, Anthony's pretty cool. But then you see me on Twitter, I was like, this guy in this stupid post, and him in that stupid cowboy hat. But it's cool, though, man.
I think everybody, has, everybody's human, everybody's got some bad side. Everybody gets frustrated. Everybody does stuff. And a lot of times we don't see the full picture because we're all only seeing from our perspective, our lens. And so I think if there was a little bit more understanding and trying to understand some things, that I think things would go a lot better. You talked about wrestling, and I haven't kept up with wrestling, but I used to love wrestling when I was a kid. I remember getting WWE SmackDown or something with on the Sega Genesis, and I remember
Wow.
Bam Bam Bigelow was
Yeah,
one
yeah.
of my favorites to play as, and me and my brother used to test pile drivers down at the lake. We would be like, it's so much fun, and there's certain aspects of that stuff that I can really relate to and understand. So
Yeah. You know what? It's man, this is a cool hobby to have, to make shows. I mean, 6 people watching, but dude, some 6 people are watching just you and me talk, and we're interacting. I think it's a cool thing, man. I like it.
yeah.
And it just takes regular social media. Like I remember I used to have a blog years ago, and people would come on the blog and it was total chaos. Like I used to have like the craziest stuff, and I'm inciting crazy stuff, right? Like it was I used to call myself the Black Jerry Springer of the internet. It was crazy. So but I look at it now, I was like, wow, you can have YouTube, like who's gonna become an actor, right? Get hired, whatever, go out to Hollywood, whatever you want to say, right? To become an actor and be in movies or whatever. But you can take any idiot with a cell phone and could just turn on the camera and now he's on the YouTube, and could, have people watching him. So I think it's kind of compelling when you think of it.
Yeah. It's interesting to see where a lot of kids from who you grew up with and where they've been. Like one dude friended me on Facebook, and I was like, oh, that was that stoner kid in band. I remember him. And I looked at his profile, and he's like, it said AI engineer at Facebook, and I was like, holy shit! Like,
Wow.
what have I been doing with my life? Like,
right. But you used to laugh at that guy.
I was like, oh man. No, I used to like chill with him too. I was like,
Okay.
man. And now he's like I always thought like he was this like stoner kid, skateboard kid.
Right.
Didn't really think like he was super smart or anything. And look how he turned out.
Yeah.
With the
cool.
he's probably making, 6 figures, and
Right.
yeah, he's making some big bucks.
What's up, Jamie? Spectre's in the building. What's going on, Spectre? Let's see. All right. Guys, so we were talking a little bit about GFN, the big news. If you didn't hear it, Spectre, I haven't talked to you all week besides on your show, but if you didn't hear it, GFN announced that they're going to have 3080 tier up. You could do up to 144. 1440. Maker, just take over, man.
1440p 120 fps and 4K 60 with the NVIDIA Shield.
Gotcha. Thank you. You put a little nice bow on it. That's how I feel like this is when Barry and Duncan is talking. Duncan be all over the place, and Barry's just like, just, and I'm like, see,
I do that. I have to correct him sometimes too, especially with like names. Sometimes he gets. I feel like he's like processing everything, and he says stuff. So
that's what just happened to me. I've been talking about this since Thursday, and my head was like, wait, and I was like, you know what, just help me out.
It happens.
Oh man,
yeah, it's exciting news. And man. I see a lot of growth with it. Like T-Pain coming out as a GFN partner now was a big one.
T-Pain.
Yeah.
Wow, when did that happen?
It was posted on Twitter when they announced the news. Like he came out as a GFN creator or a GFN partner, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's gonna be cool. And you know what's funny, Maker? I can't wait. Like I wish it was this week, because I want to see what stems from it. Competition is awesome, and you should never fear it. It either make or break. I said it a while ago. I don't know whose show I was on when I first said it, but so listen, I want, and at the time, everybody was like, xCloud is gonna be the, right? Everybody was like, xCloud is gonna be the thing. xCloud is gonna take over. They got Game Pass, and I was like, listen, I want xCloud to do so great. It make me say Stadia who? Like, make Stadia say we have to do something, right? Competition is cool, but GFN, woo!
I think both xCloud and GFN are doing really well right now. Both are pushing out expansions to new territories. Xbox upgraded to Series X blades.
Right. They are how do you want to say it? They are like Series X. They're I don't want to say experimental. What's the word I look for? They are. I was saying that. Oh man, I've been talking about this too long. My brain just needs to chill. But they're not the exact Series X, right? They're like a
They're
modified
custom.
Series X, right? Custom. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Right.
they're custom blades.
Yeah.
I think it's more so it has some similar hardware, but it's specifically designed to be put in as a server blade.
Right.
So I think that's the difference.
Gotcha. Okay. Um, you know what my issue is always gonna be, man. And I know they said they're gonna do something eventually. My issue
Mhm.
is always gonna be you can't purchase games. And I know when Duncan is like, oh, Stadia needs to focus more on the subscription. No, because then I wouldn't like it, you know, because I bring this up.
Mhm.
Far Cry 6 is out. And I personally said months ago, I think it's going to be game of the year just because of the actor and stuff, right? I could be wrong. I never even played it yet. But if I was a cloud guy, I can't play it on xCloud. So as much as people love Game Pass, Game Pass does not get everything. People make you think that, but it doesn't, and it gets so much, which is an amazing value, but it doesn't get everything. And so I
Uh,
will never get hyped up on xCloud because up until less than a month ago, they have Avengers, and that's my game, you know. And who's know how long Avengers is even going to stay? And then when it leaves,
uh,
if but
I would say most games stay for at least 6 months. So I would expect usually between
listen,
six months to a
well, let,
year.
well, well, let me ask you this: do you know how long Avengers stayed on PS Now?
I would say PS Now is a bit different. They
All
cut a
right,
lot of
well, I'm
their
just
games
saying
kind of
they do. Well,
short.
usually they do their they do 3 months for their Sony games, like 3 months, and then they're out of there. But
Yeah, and I don't like that. Like the whole Last of Us 2 dropping and then going to be leaving in January is too short. Like
yeah,
6 months, I think is a good balance because that it allows you to take time to actually
yeah, but
play a
you
lot of
got to
these games.
figure money wise, that's their probably number one game at the moment, right? Or at least was. So if you want to, holiday season's coming up. Um, the thing is, if you give people too many options, it thins things. And I feel like you could still sell some systems off of The Last of Us. But if I could just get in the cloud, then it's like, it's
Well,
that's a
I
go ahead.
oh, sorry. That's where I believe that PlayStation should go the route that Disney Plus did with
Mhm.
video streaming, was where you charge for certain titles. And so for their
Okay.
bigger titles, I think they should charge a premium, or like you could charge, let's say, $60 for the new The Last of Us that comes out next, and you could play it directly through PS Now for paying that premium.
No, say that again. That's interesting. Break it down.
Like you know how Disney Plus has like a lot of their shows,
Yep.
and then they'll release a movie, and then you have to pay like $30 for the
Right.
movie. Similarly, PlayStation Now could do something similar where they have the subscription service of PlayStation Now, and then if you do want to buy the latest and greatest exclusive, say Spider-Man 2, you
Right.
pay 50 extra bucks, and you can play it directly through the cloud.
Makes sense. Here's some stuff. I'm also a big new movie guy. So they're no longer doing that anymore, actually. So when they had the lawsuit with Scarlett Johansson for Black Widow because her contract was she was gonna make money off the movie, but then they brought it also in Disney Plus. So the last movie they actually did that for was Jungle Cruise. So after Jungle Cruise, they're not doing that anymore. Like making you
Yeah,
pay $30 for a movie.
that
But
I feel like is more geared towards how they make a lot of like a portion off of
oh
the
yeah,
how
the
well it
deal.
does in the box office.
Correct.
Uh,
Correct. That's the thing.
it
That's
wouldn't it
exactly what
wouldn't
happened.
be as it wouldn't be as complex with gaming
Right.
though.
Oh, I was just saying because I'm a movie guy. I was just throwing that in there. That it's crazy that they're stopping
Mhm.
that. Yeah. So
Yeah,
you
it's
see that question Jamie had?
mhm.
What's our opinion of the cloud game of the year? I don't even
Ooh.
think. I mean, no, though cloud. I mean, to me, my time playing cloud has been very good. And like me personally, my favorite game, my 2020 game of the year was Doom Eternal, right? And it was cool because it was even in it was a contender, so that made me feel good. It didn't win, but it was a contender, right? So I look at cloud gaming. I look at a game as a game. So do you have a game that in your mind? Because I look at it like Doom Eternal. I could have been a console guy and just felt Doom Eternal should have been game of the year. I don't know if I necessarily feel like I played a game and I was like, okay, I'll say this. I felt it was a great game for cloud gaming because to really show off, like, whoa, like how some people say Destiny, it was a cool thing that Destiny came on Stadia in the beginning. So I get that point, but I don't really look at games like that and be like, oh man, this game is great. Just look at it in the cloud. I don't know if that makes sense. Can you? I don't know.
Yeah. I think for me, when I think cloud game of the year, I would assume it's what's the best game of the year that I could play in the cloud. And
Okay.
as far as the best one, sorry, 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's calling me apparently. But trying to see if it's my food or not.
Yep.
I ordered food a while back, but yeah, no. For oh, they're here. Do you mind if I go for 1 minute?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna
Yep.
go grab my food.
Yep. Not a problem. So let me get to these comments. So Jamie, if I had to pick a cloud game of the year and just meaning the game that's on cloud, and if I wouldn't choose a game from last year, I'm gonna say, maybe I'm gonna say. I mean, the thing is, I have yet to play Far Cry, but I've heard so many great things about it. So anecdotally, I can't use it, but I'm gonna use it because even Ray that just jumped in, I'm gonna use that to answer your question. I'm gonna say Far Cry 6. Jamie said, thanks Cyberpunk for Stadia because it brought a lot of new people to the system. That is true, but I believe that was last year. That was in December. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was in December or November. Cyberpunk wasn't in 2021. Dreamberg Spirit. Yo, Zero. What's going on, Ray? Bruce, my guy, man. Man, Bruce. Oh, my God. So here's what we're going to do, guys. Bruce is an awesome guy, and I love shouting him out. Maker is back. So we're going to do this real quick. Maker just got his food. And we're going to take a quick commercial break because I want to play. So Bruce is awesome. Bruce made the theme song, the intro song for No Yes Man. That is him playing the guitar. And he even allowed me to use, he did a cover and he allowed me to use it as the theme song for the show I do on Tuesdays with my wife and my daughter. So I just want to play that theme song because I actually got it queued up. And so real quick, it's literally like 59 seconds. So let's play some of Bruce's work because he's awesome. All right, now what I want to do real quick, because I'm on a Bruce kick right now. I want to play and now that was a cover he made, right? This is legitimately him. He created from scratch the theme song for us for No Yes Man. So listen to this, guys. Bruce is awesome. Dude, that's epic, bro.
Pretty
That's
great.
yo, Bruce, man. Man, that he seems like he could write animated theme songs. It gives you that vibes, right? Like,
Yeah, it reminds me of like an AMV or something of like an anime music video type
yeah.
deal. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, gotta give him credit, man. I just always I'm a credit where credit's due guy. I don't care if you're my host hated enemy. If you do something cool, I have to acknowledge it, you know. And some people get mad at me like, how could don't like, you know, just gonna say it. Listen, Dunk is my guy, damn it. And if you don't like him, tough for you. All right. I spend half of my time on Twitter defending Duncan. Why? Because I like him. You don't gotta like him. But I give him credit where credit is due sometimes, you know, and I get on him too. He's like he's my Batman to my Joker, right? Damn it, I don't like people messing with him because I want to mess with him. Duncan's mine. But
there's one he sticks to his word, and
yeah,
and everything that he says is he means it.
consistent. Yep. And that's the thing. I always say, like, you might disagree with certain people, but that's their conviction. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they believe what they're saying wholeheartedly, it doesn't matter if you disagree or you don't believe it. And you could feel like they're lying, but that's their belief, you know, and it's fine, you know, and it's also fine to be, you know, to disagree. That's fine. No one's saying you got to listen to everybody, whatever, but it's cool when you think about it. So, did you think of your cloud game of the year to answer Jamie's question?
Yeah, I did, and it's a tough choice.
Okay.
Like I could list off several games that are up there for me. Grime, I would say, is one of them.
Nice.
Resident Evil Village was another. The Artful Escape on Xbox was great, and Death's Door on Steam that I played through GFN.
Okay.
Similarly, Kenna's up there too. All of them are kind of.
And did you beat all of them?
Yep.
Cool.
All of them. Yep.
Dude, you beat Grime?
Yeah. It's rough, but you can the cloudy playthrough, the cloudy with games. There's a complete playthrough, no commentary of Grime. And that's me playing it.
How long?
I think it's like 14, 15 hours it took. Maybe 16. I know there's about an hour off time where I just practiced one of the bosses because I was having trouble with it. But yeah, but I would say one I think did exceptionally well, and I would say that was like Psychonauts 2. I just loved. I thought they did a really good job writing the characters, everything on it. I would say was probably what pushed it over the top for me.
And you know what's crazy is I seen Ray playing it one night, and when I tuned in, he was at the part where the teeth was flying or something. Like, what is this trash? And it's a shame because I would, you know, I remember Psychonauts Part 1. You know how long ago was that, right? And I was like, so Psychonauts 2, and I know there's people on Xbox was like, oh, it should be game of the year. I was like, game, but what if we come to, you know, because you think of something like a God of War and a Last of Us, right? But I think it's fair to say, hey, that game, like you said, you spoke about the writing, you know, the characters being fleshed out, so stuff like that. You know, you have to play it and enjoy it to understand it.
There's a lot of depth to it. It doesn't look like it at first. You know, you see it and you think kids game, but it deals with a lot of struggles that people do inside their mind, and you see that with whenever you enter each person's brain, a part of them or something that they are self-conscious about. It's in there, and they talk about it. Like there's one. Just briefly, I'll mention there's one that deals with panic attacks, an overflow of everything all at once. If they went through a traumatic event that caused them, like everything felt overwhelming to them.
Right.
And so there's a section there where you're trying to slowly help them regain their senses and try to understand what really happened in that moment rather than thinking that everyone abandoned them. So
wow.
Yeah.
Where's the spoiler alert? You know?
I'm not going to say what it's about or anything.
I got you.
Anything. I won't say specifics because I would people to experience the game for themselves.
Yeah. Jamie, I think he was breaking it down a little bit when you left. He said, "Think Cyberpunk for Stadia because it brought a lot of new people to the system." But I think Cyberpunk was last year, right? Wasn't that in December?
Yeah, it was last year.
Yeah. Let's see. DreamWorks, Spirit. That was I know that's your favorite game, right?
No, it's not.
Let's see. Yeah, Ray said, "What's up to you?" Let's see.
Oh yeah, Far Cry and New World. I've heard I've been playing New World.
Okay. See, Bruce is you know, we're all what's this term goes? We are our own worst critic. He said, "Sounds like it's underwater." Stop it, Bruce. Wait, what are you saying? That me and Maker are yes men? Is that what you're saying, Ray? Oh, he said it makes me want to play Dragon Ball Z. Wow.
Yeah, okay. That does kind of remind me of Dragon Ball Z. I was playing Dragon Ball Fighter Z, and it reminds me of the intro that plays in the beginning for that game.
Yeah. What's going on? Monkey Boy just popped in here. Man, you guys are coming out on a Sunday night. Man, I didn't think a Sunday night would be a good time to do some stuff. But usually on the weekends, my wife and I, we're always doing stuff on the weekends. And she would kill me if I would, because it makes me think. I don't, you know, what if, well, sometimes I actually do stuff Sunday mornings when I do my movie stuff, like our spoiler discussions. It's usually 11:30 a.m. Sunday morning. But it's cool to see some people showing up. Maker, let's recap a little bit GeForce Now. It was just you and me in here.
Yeah.
And now everybody's tuning in, right? Guys, you can need to rewind it because man, Maker was really breaking it down. But we were just talking about GeForce Now, and you know, you guys heard the news by now. The 3080 GFN next month. Do we have a date? Or no, just next month.
I don't know if there's a date or not. I just know November is what they were saying.
Right. Okay. What do you think they're gonna do it later in November? What do you think?
I can't say. I don't know. Like it's.
Come on, Maker. Let's do this. Let's you and me pick a date, and we're gonna see who's closer. We'll come back next month.
I'll let you have
first.
This.
I'm gonna say the 13th. Wait, hold on. I gotta look at the calendar. I can't just pick out a random date. But all right, the 13th is a Wednesday. Wait, no, it ain't. Sorry. The 13th next month is a Saturday. No, that ain't gonna work. Well, the week of the 13th. I'll say that. I got a feeling it's gonna come out the second. I'll say this: the second week of November is coming out. So you go pick a week. Then I'm saying the second week.
I'll go with the third then.
All right, cool.
I think it'd be later.
All right, fair enough, guys. We have spoken.
Just in time for Black Friday and those fall sales.
Yeah.
For Steam.
Bruce said, yeah, it definitely sounds like Japanese metal, but Japanese metal was influenced by the Iron Maiden and other prog metal bands. Good stuff. Let's see.
You got a giraffe here?
Let's see. Oh, Monkey said, went and bought a PC. Tried out GeForce Now, Luna. Both of them work great. Luna only has a few games to play, unfortunately, and GeForce Now took forever to get into the game, and the library is limited. Let's see. No, you're most welcome, Bruce. And Monkey Boy said, I honestly think all of the cloud platforms have their purses, and yeah, I agree. So that's everything, though, right? Like, look at PlayStation and Xbox; they rivaled each other forever, right? And you know, for the most part, some people like the PlayStation controller better. Some people like the Xbox controller better. Now, the thing with those are they're very similar in nature to a point. Games pretty much almost like identical on both consoles for the most part. Until now, when you start doing SPS boosts and blah blah blah. But yeah, I mean, I'm always gonna love. Ooh, Monkey said November 19th. All right, let me write this down.
We see specific. Let me pull up a calendar.
Yeah, right. He went real specific. All right, let's write GFN. GFN 3080. All right. I'm gonna say me. All right. Should we pick dates then? Since he went specific.
I can.
Or you want to just stick with our week?
I would say I can stick with the specific.
Yeah, I'm gonna go specific. I'm gonna say Thursday the 11th.
I'll say Thursday the 18th.
All right. So I got Thursday the 11th. Maker is Thursday the 18th, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what did he say? He said the 19th? Really, you guys doing it like that? It's a Friday 19th.
I just say 18th because 18th is what usually like Thursdays. You're on the money with the Thursdays.
Oh, the Thursdays? Oh wow, I didn't even know that. It's crazy, right? I might be on to something. All right, come on, Ray and Jamie. We need y'all to give us a date. we got to sweeten the pot. Have some type of thing involved. The winner get a game or something.
They get a Stadia game.
Yeah, they get a Stadia game. They don't want. You know what's cool, Maker? You ever play Hellpoint?
Hellpoint? I haven't, but it's been on my radar. I might have gotten it with one of my Humble bundles, actually.
I got it. Stadia Source actually gifted it to me, and dude, you know what? I need to play it. It was actually it's a roguelike, but it's multiplayer, and it's not bad. Like the controls are pretty cool. It's a little slower, little kind of sort of. Obviously than a Sakura or something like that, but it's not bad.
Yeah, I like those challenging games. I've beaten Sakura before.
I haven't. Yeah, I gotta get back into it. I gotta get into a lot of stuff. You mentioned Resident Evil Village. I need to get back on that as well and finish it.
There are certain aspects of Village that I wasn't a fan of, and I think that's why it kind of takes it down a notch. Like, okay. I definitely think if certain aspects of the story were a bit different, it would definitely be Game of the Year. But right now, it's a really tough choice for me because nothing's really been super exceptional. There's not been a God of War. There's not been,
Last of Us.
Right. Yeah, it's something that's like really knocks it out of the park.
So 2 things I want to jump on is I personally am upset with Resident Evil. All right. I'm a big fan. It's my favorite video game franchise. And I've played every single Resident Evil main storyline. And I played all the Game Boy games when they came to PlayStation 4. It might have been PlayStation 3. I don't remember. Right. So I actually rented GameFly them and beat them. Right. I didn't play the one where like it was on PlayStation 3 where it was like, I guess a multiplayer game where a bunch of people ran around and tried to survive. That wasn't, considered core for me, right? But I played Zero, Code Veronica X, you name it, right? I don't like, dude, what the hell? We got werewolves and vampires. Like, are we serious right now? It's just not my Resident Evil.
to me, it reminds me of the wackiness that Resident Evil 4 was.
Dude, Resident Evil 4 started this nonsense, man, and it's considered the most popular Resident Evil.
It
No,
is.
man,
It is.
I'm always mad at that game for that. It took us in a.
I thought it was a lot of fun, and I liked 4 a lot. Like there were certain aspects that I thought were really well done.
Resident Evil isn't supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be terrifying. They ain't doing martial arts and spin kicking. Come on, man.
I will say, Resident Evil 2 remake. Have you played that?
No. So my wife's a big fan too, and we was gonna play all the remakes. We started with part 1, but part 1, remember, it came out on the GameCube. The remake, it still feels like clunky, so she can't get into it. So we kind of stopped playing it, but we were gonna do 2 and 3 remake, but we didn't. So we didn't.
Yeah. The 2, I have the 3 remake. I need to play it, honestly. But the 2 remake was probably my game of the year that it came out. I think the other option was Sakura came out that year too, and it was between those two. But Resident Evil 2 to me hit perfect. You know, it like visually it was exceptional. The story was really good, and I love the fact that there was 2 different perspectives. So when you beat it as Leon, you then got to play it as Claire. Yeah, and so that was the cool part.
No,
was
Jill.
once,
I'm sorry, Jill.
Claire. No, it's Claire. You play, I believe.
Is it? Because I thought, yeah, you're right. Yeah, the first one was Chris and Jill, and then it was Leon and Claire. Okay.
Yeah, Leon and Claire, because Claire's looking for her brother.
Chris. Yeah, Chris.
And so I really liked it because the ending, you don't see the full ending until you beat it as both. Oh, wow. And I liked that kind of like finality of you see the 2 different perspectives collide, and then you fight that final boss, and it's really cool.
Well, let me ask you this: are we gonna allow Ray to use November 19th because Monkey Boy used it? I mean,
I'm okay with it. They can split the pot.
All right, we're gonna go with it. I would have made him choose a different one. All right, we're gonna go with it. Hold on 1 second. Friday the 19th. It's 6:01. All right. Let's see. Oh, let me ask you this: did you play Far Cry 6?
I haven't yet, but I have Ubisoft Plus. I was meaning to check it out.
Okay, gotcha. And did you know this? Did you know Sakura won Game of the Year that year?
It did, yeah. It's a really good game. My issue I had with Sekiro was I like their Dark Souls series a lot better because it allows you to choose different weapons and different play styles. With Sekiro, you can only use your samurai sword, basically. Gotcha. You have little side weapons that you can use, but there's like a limited amount you can use. So
you got to try Hellpoint, man. I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna put that in your ear. Hellpoint.
Because there's so many builds and things that you can explore to create your character who you want in Dark Souls. You can go faith build where you can have heal spells. You can go kind of a paladin with lightning, and you get kind of a mix of melee and lightning damage. Just a bunch of different options you can do. I've seen people go bow for specific reasons, and you know, the variety is what I really liked in the Dark Souls, and the bosses are exceptional, and that's what I love about From Software and their games is they do really good job with creating these boss fights. They make it feel like these epic fights that you're fighting against, like you're like David and Goliath. You're the little guy fighting the giant.
Yeah. Well, I remember when a buddy of mine was super into Sekiro, and I didn't even care about it. I didn't give it a chance. And he would tell me about the bosses in that game. And I guess there's some boss with a giant monkey and then a big snake coming out. Oh, man. Something. And I never ever seen it. But I remember him coming to work like, you don't understand. And he's explaining to me, and visually in my head, one day I got to look it up, see what it looks like. But in my head, what I see just looks amazing.
Well, what makes it crazy, though, is that the fight is that in the fight, you like stab it in its neck and then cut its head off. And as soon as you cut its head off and the body slumps over, but then the body like comes back to life and like pulls out the sword and just starts swinging. It's crazy.
And so, do you really feel you beat it when you cut the head off? Like, did you think that was it, or did you kind of tell?
Unfortunately, I had been spoiled of it. I knew that it wasn't the end.
Okay.
But I had seen so many fights where it was so funny. Like I watched some dude experience it the first time, and he was like, I beat it. And then like you just see the body come back to life. He's like, what the fuck? And like he was like, I barely just beat it. Like because it was a really tough fight, and then you have to beat it again as a headless ape.
Right.
And one of the most frustrating but also awesome fight at the same time. Like from a technical level, it's amazing. Like it's almost like seeing that second phase of a fight where you thought you had him now, and that's always fun.
Man, that's awesome. What do you got to say about this? Monkey Boy said, I'm not trying to knock GeForce Now, don't want to sound that way, but to be honest, their library is very catering towards keyboard and mouse players only, and they're missing a lot of AAA bangers.
I wouldn't say I would say they're missing a lot of console AAAs. I would say like a lot of the EA Sports titles, they're definitely missing. I think, getting New World was a big, and I would definitely consider that a AAA title.
Yeah.
They have like all the.
I feel like it inserted itself as a AAA title, right? Like it's weird, but I guess you have to kind of take them a little serious now, right? Amazon Games.
Definitely. I think they've got Cyberpunk 2. They got Control, Metro Exodus, and I would.
Whoa. Oh, sorry. I thought you meant like Metroid Dread. I was like, what?
Oh no.
Metro Exodus, yeah. You're naming all these old games, man. Name something in 2021.
And
Far Cry 6.
Ubisoft titles would definitely.
Yeah. What else? Oh, I want to ask you this, because I was trying to gauge it from my post on Twitter about is Ubisoft Plus on GFN? And people said no, but you could technically add each game. Then I want to get to Jamie's question about RPG of the year.
So yes, you can. You do just have to claim the games. You go to your Ubisoft Connect and then just claim the games, and you'll be able to play them on GeForce Now. So technically, you can use Ubisoft Plus to play their titles, and you can get by the cloud fee because you don't have to pay that $18. You can just pay the $15 for just base Ubisoft Plus, and still have access to those titles.
So for me, because I'm more of a console guy, it sounds like to me it's a little bit too much jumping through hurdles to get to do certain things. Now I heard some people complain and say every time they turn it on, they got to sign in on stuff. But I heard if you take off your
two-factor authentication,
then you won't have to do that. That's what I would definitely do because it would drive me crazy each time. But I mean, to each his own. I think they came out the gate from make like catering to PC, right? We look at GFN like it's a PC cloud platform. So you have to, like, if a duck is a duck, you know what I'm saying, to be fair. I don't like when people take something like, yes, we could compare all day, but it's like with Stadia when they came out and said, you know what, after good stuff, always repeat it. We're not gonna come out and say stuff. We're just gonna do it in the background. That's what they said. Now we could say that sucks, but that's what they said. So we can't be like, I mean, we could say I really wish they wasn't like that, but it should always be that asterisk of, but this is what they said. So I feel like we hold them sometimes so hard on them not promoting and doing stuff. But that's just their way. I don't know why they don't want to come out and say this and that, but that's what they said. You know what I'm saying? If it makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, But to me, I don't think that's the right way to do things, especially with gamers, especially with console gamers. Because like, look at how the consoles are. Xbox is constantly flowing through news and
Right.
announcing stuff far ahead into the future. And similarly with PlayStation, I think PlayStation actually is like the king of really announcing things way too early. Look at Final Fantasy VII Remake got announced like
Oh
7 years
my
before
God,
it
dude, are
came
you
out.
serious? I remember seeing that, like, and guess what? It don't look nothing like what they showed back then. Like, it was like, come on, man. Yeah, they drove me crazy. Now, all of what he's saying right here is kind of compelling, though. Let's talk about
Yeah.
this maker. Nothing from Bethesda, no EA Sports games, nothing from Activision, nothing from Serious Sam. Do we really care about Serious Sam developer? I'm just saying. Nothing from Bandai Namco, no Borderlands, no PUBG. What
Wait,
do you got to say
PUBG's
about
not on there?
that? I don't know. You gotta look it up.
Oh,
Let's see. November 19th is Stadia's. Oh, damn. Yeah, you're right. Stadia's 2-year anniversary is November 19th.
he's right. It's not
Yeah.
there. PUBG's not
Yeah,
there.
I doubt they would bring it out on that date. If they did, bro, that would be a boss move. That would be like epic move.
I do know they did recently get the Crisis Remastered Trilogy.
Okay.
And I do know that they cater more towards the PC crowd. I definitely wouldn't recommend GeForce Now to someone who wants the convenience of a console,
Right.
because it's definitely more catered towards the PC crowd for sure.
That's
Like,
cool, man.
they've got League of Legends, Counter-Strike, PUBG, a lot of those PC titles, 100%.
Look, he
And
said,
I'm a PC gamer, so it's,
hold on. He said no PUBG.
yeah, PUBG, I don't believe is in there.
What about the RPG thing? So I haven't played and beat a RPG in years. So, but I will say some of the free ones they put on Stadia was kind of cool. My favorite all-time RPG is Phantasy Star 4. You remember that, man? I'm going way back now. This is back in the day, bro. You probably was real young back then. I know you
Wait,
got the beard and
what
all
was it
that.
again? Sorry, I got.
Star 4. That was my
Phantasy Star.
yeah.
I didn't ever play the Phantasy Star series.
Okay.
I played
Yeah.
a little bit of PSO2 when that dropped, but I didn't really play any Phantasy Star, to be honest. I didn't really get big into gaming until I would say the Xbox 360 era.
Okay,
I got
gotcha.
the 360 and the PS3,
Yeah, this was on.
and had the Wii.
Yeah, Fantasy Star was on Sega Genesis. So yeah, going way back.
Yeah, Sega Genesis. Like I think we only had a couple games.
Okay.
I think we had like Mortal Kombat, the WWE game, and a few others. We got the N64 shortly after that, and man, tore up the N64 though. I would say Pokemon Snap, Pokemon Stadium, Super Smash Brothers.
Bro, tell me you had GoldenEye.
GoldenEye is a classic. It's one of like the best, it's like the start of the FPS genre.
Yeah.
I would say it's like one of the pinnacles of FPS.
Yeah. Now you said you had wrestling back in the day. Did you have No Mercy on your N64?
I don't think I did. I think we shifted over to because I was pretty young around that time. I remember I didn't get the original Game Boy. My friend had it. I got the Game Boy Color though, and so that's if that kind of tells you around when.
I got you. Yep.
Yeah.
What do you have to say to this, man? Because I agree, and I want to talk to you about that, Maker, because you're an RE guy too. What do you think about Resident Evil, man? I also have a problem with it being first person, Maker. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I think Resident Evil 7 was a really good horror game, but it wasn't a good Resident Evil game. And I'm glad when Stadia, somebody was like, oh, I said, bro, I had nothing to do with Resident Evil. And somebody was like, oh, the DLC had Chris. So I didn't want to hear that. Now, on Stadia, they had they had all the DLC. So I was like, okay, well, I never played the DLC back then. Now I play it now. So I played the little Chris thing. And so what's your thoughts on it being first person?
You're right. I think they need the third person view as well. I think if they're going to do first person, I think 7 is the way to go, because I think
Yeah.
7 was better than Village, because 7 was geared far more towards being an actual horror game,
Yes.
and
Yes.
Village is more geared towards being,
Like action, right?
yeah, it's a bit more action oriented. It does
Right.
have a little bit of spooks in there, but there's this kind of like identity crisis I feel like Village has, where there's certain sections that are spooky, and then there's certain sections that are like very action packed and stuff. And and it's like they're trying to figure out what the player wants, you know, and they can't decide.
Why is everybody singing songs in down there in the comments? What is going on? You got flavor in your ear. Don't believe you. What is going on? What just happened down there? Waiting to get GTA 6. Huh. Are you gonna be waiting for a very long time? Also, I met a guy earlier. I want to shout his channel out. Is Jay Marley. I'm not sure if you guys are gonna find him, but I do want to shout out people's stuff. That's one of the things I just love doing. I know a lot of people don't do that, so I want to, that be a little bit different. So if you guys got a channel, let me know. I'll throw your link in the description as well. Actually, hey Maker, so you don't have your own specific channel per se, right? Give me all
I
the
used to stream a bit, but
okay.
I don't anymore. Well,
Okay.
not like I used to.
Are you too
So
busy?
helping her out with Cloudy is
Cool.
one, and work. Got to spend time with the girlfriend, and
Yep.
stuff eats up time, and try and make time for friends too, and also try and game, because
Okay.
yeah.
Well, let me do this. When are you usually on Cloudy?
I'm usually on the green rooms on Tuesdays, so
Okay.
we should be talking about some of the games for Xbox uh, on this Tuesday. I believe it's at 3 p.m. Eastern, so uh, 8 p.m. UK time. But yeah,
Okay. Guys, I
uh,
just put okay, sorry.
good. I wanted to bring something up that you might not have heard about.
Okay, go ahead.
See if it's up your alley. Um, so it just came out that Xbox is working with a developer to make a game, and initially the project was called Project Shaolin. But the game is going to be a action RPG that is all themed around Wu-Tang Clan.
Oh wow.
It's going
Now,
to have a Wu-Tang Clan soundtrack and everything.
okay. Well, there was a
So
Wu-Tang Clan game back in the day.
yeah,
Yeah,
and it
yeah,
was actually like I think Shaolin was in its name,
yeah,
so
yeah.
it's pretty
Oh
funny
wow. Yeah,
they're
yeah. You know what's crazy? What made that game cool? Because back then it was super violent. And like it was a very violent game. So it was really cool. It was like, whoa, they really took it there. That's pretty cool. It was kind of like
it's
Time Splitters in a way.
this one's going to be made from like a somewhat new developer that's
Mhm.
up and coming. So I'm assuming it's going to be similar to how Xbox did with Moon Studios, where they help with like creating the game and promoting the game and stuff like that, and then they'll just make it as an exclusive for Xbox.
That's pretty cool. Hey,
Yeah.
listen, man. I love it, man. I love games. So, whatever deals a company could do to make a game, say, hey, we only make it a developer make a game only for you. It is what it is. Like people, I'm a Marvel Avenger fan. I don't have a problem at all with Spider-Man being only on PlayStation. Like, I get it. If
Exclusives.
I was Sony, I would have did it too. It's a power move. They had the rights for Spider-Man. Listen, damn it. You do whatever you want, but we want Spider-Man. I mean, I would have did it too. Now it kind of sucks, right? But it's business. Let's see what
Yeah.
Monkey Boy said. He said, "Don't take this as negative. I signed up for the new server, and I'm going to give it a try. And bought the PC. But like I said, GeForce Now is missing quite a few. I'll make a list below. Yeah, I mean,
Oh yeah.
none of
I
these things
think
are perfect.
I do think it. as I said before, I do think it's geared more towards the PC gamer. Like for example, they got Valheim back in January.
Mhm.
That game sold over 7 million copies in the. I think it was in a couple weeks that it came out,
Okay.
which is pretty exceptional for such a small title. Like it
Right.
is made by a team of like I think 10 to 14 people.
That's cool.
So yeah.
Did you did
Hmm.
no, I was gonna say, speaking of a small size studio, did you play the Falconeer?
I dabbled with it when it came over to Game Pass and
Mhm.
XCloud, so I played a little bit of it.
Mhm.
I didn't. I felt like the controls were a bit off, and so I was just like it was a bit floaty.
Okay.
But I think it looked like a fine game. It didn't interest me at the time.
Got you. So I used to be a big fan of flight games, and I haven't played them in a long time. So I want to get one, right? And I seen the Falconeer came out, and then Chorus is coming out for Stadia. So I was like, oh, I wonder. Now, obviously, people are like, well, of course, But I was like, well, I wonder how the Falconeer is. So whenever it kind of comes up, I always ask people, what was their experience with the Falconeer. But guys, I put Makers where you can find Maker. You can catch one on Cloudy with a chance of games. The link is right there, so make sure you click on it. Show that channel some love. They are pretty good. At the end of the day, you guys not covering Stadia anymore. I still Duncan owes me Stadia. What has Stadia done now? But damn it, he missed a couple of them, and he was gonna do one and didn't. And I inboxed him and said, bro, all I know, I don't care if it's a private viewing, but I want my damn. That's gonna be my thing. Whenever I come in the chats, I'm gonna write, I want my last episode.
Yeah,
I want.
I respect what they're doing.
Mhm.
That we're not going to cover it, and I told them that I support whichever way they go. I'm just here to help out because it did take a toll on them. Like it almost felt like constantly when they released anything Stadia related, there was always a comment or something, especially if it wasn't in a positive light. But and so I respect them going the route of not covering Stadia anymore. I
Right.
provided some of the Stadia content. I played through the Grime series for the channel, and I still have my
Right.
sub up until December. So, and I don't hate Stadia, and I do have my gripes with Stadia. I poke
Yeah.
fun, and I
Yeah. Yeah.
have my own issues. And you can definitely see that if you checked out the Cloud Nation TV that we covered on Thursday night, we went into pretty in-depth detail of
So
what we would like to see
you know
Stadia
what? I
do.
started watching that episode and then I got sidetracked. But it was
It
like,
is 3 hours
yeah, it
long.
was
Like
yeah. I noticed that. I looked at it
I,
because I
I
don't get to catch everybody's stuff live. But dude, on my way to work and way home, I listen. And my job, cool thing for me is I could do my job listening. So I catch a lot of people's stuff the next day, like Clive. I love Clive, but I can't watch it live. I'm usually doing my show, so I listen to it the next day on the way to work. So I started to watch that show. I was like, what the hell? It's like what was they talking about? I knew GFN was a big deal, but
Yeah, so GFN covers like the first hour and 45
okay,
minutes, I'll tell you that.
okay,
So if you want to skip forward to about like hour 50,
right,
feel free. And then we got into Stadia, what we think
right,
is wrong with Stadia and what they could do to improve is
right.
yeah. Specific. A lot of mine deals with marketing and deals with for games
Oh yeah, I
specifically.
mean,
Uh,
what I hope, Maker, is
hmm.
that they will use. I hope that their white labeling gets popular, and I hope they can do it. Hey, let a lot of people white label for a lot of people, and I hope they take that money and funnel it back in the stadium. But I will highlight this though, even though it's been on the screen. This is funny, but he said no Resident Evil, no Killer Queen Black, no football, no Star Wars games, no WWE games, no Sakura, no Power Rangers. So I feel like he's pointing at me. I play Resident Evil.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of Killer Queen Black. I played Power Rangers. I just said Sakura and WWE. God damn it! Listen, it's always that thing. If your game don't come, if Stadia got your game, it's fine. But if your game don't come, well, damn it. If they don't get WWE
I
2022, I was verbal about that. So
I do think they need to be working more with these deals, especially with the Capcom. I think would be an excellent one to get on the GFN. And as for the football games and stuff of that nature, I'm hoping with this EA partnership that we're going to start to see more EA titles drop onto GFN. The fact that they've announced that there is a partnership to me is significant. So
yeah, but here's the problem though, Maker. It's just speculation, right? But I mean, Stadia once had a partnership with EA, and guess what? That was 5 games and it was over. So
it was a contract. I think contracts a bit.
okay,
Stadia has a partnership with Ubisoft, for example.
okay, gotcha.
To what extent the partnership with GFN is, time will tell. You know, I could see them kind of. I think they're testing the waters. EA has been. I think that's why they entered in a contract with Stadia, and you're starting to see EA titles now come to xCloud. They're testing each of the cloud services and seeing which one's giving them the most traction, or who's grabbing people.
Yeah.
And I think that's where they'll decide which one they're going to dump their games and stuff onto. That way, it saves them time and money from porting or for, finding ways for them to make money. Because if they have a partnership with GFN and the titles aren't seeing any people playing or purchasing their games, why would they keep putting EA titles onto GFN? Simple as that.
Right.
So it's but the fact that they announced a partnership, that it seems like they are working with EA, I think that's a good sign. It's something rather than when EA just straight up left.
Yeah. Let me jump in this here. There's a little bit of stuff. These guys are talking about Sonny and Ace from back in the day. So I spoke to Ace myself, and when I did that interview, if you guys didn't know, I did a sit-down discussion with Ace from Cloud Gaming. Yes, from Cloud Gaming Stream. I was about to say Cloudy. And he was like, man, I thought you were going to ask me tougher questions. Like what? So I thought you were going to ask me about me and Sonny from the beginning. I was like, oh, no, I mean, it is what it is. And then he was like, yeah, so him and Sonny originally was together. You guys are correct. But he actually wanted to do everything where Sonny wanted to focus more on Stadia. And you know what's cool? They both are doing great. Yes, Sonny hit 20,000, but Ace hit 10,000. Both things are pretty impressive. So what's cool is Sonny you can rely on for primarily Stadia stuff, and CGX you can rely on them for pretty much everything. Now the question is, will they stop doing Stadia? I doubt that. But especially since they just brought Rock in for the rep. What do you think about Rock being a rep? I thought that was interesting.
I think he's okay for a Stadia rep. I think he's perfectly fine. But then again, I thought their regular crew was fine. A lot of them are very tech oriented, and I don't really see them aligning one way or the other. They just follow what game looks the best. Like that's the whole point, is they want the best experience.
Well, Maker, I'm just gonna say
they'll have their own preferences. I'll say that.
I was a guest on there twice, and I almost feel like when I was a guest, it was kind of like, and I watched the show myself, but I don't think Stadia is that popular over there. That's all I'm gonna say.
I think it doesn't help the ports. There's a lot of not great ports on Stadia that might not help. I think there's a few things that Stadia needs to work on. Granted, GFN has stuff they need to work on too, but
I mean, they all do, but
yeah, to me, the two cloud services, I would say, like the big cloud services that I think need to really work on stuff is Luna and Stadia. Luna's just not getting any titles to really entice people over.
But let's be fair, Maker. I always say this. Dude, Luna's $5.99 a month. What the hell do you think? Like, dude, you can't argue over $5.99, but at the same time, it's $5. You know what the whole saying is? You get what you pay for. Like, what day and date games do we really expect to come to Luna? That would be the steal of the century if they got AAA titles for $5. Everybody would just jump on Luna. Like you would.
I think they need to drop New World on it for one. I think that would be a really good one to drop. But as you said before, they want to keep the price low, and they want to. I think they need to up their price and increase the library. Like
Yeah.
get some big like day and date titles to really grab the attention. Look how Game Pass is doing, because that's what Game Pass does. They grab those titles. They got Outriders, they got Back for Blood. They're gonna get Halo and Forza coming up,
Right.
and they had a bunch of other game, like even a lot of indie games came day and date through their service. Like look at The Artful Escape through Annapurna. You had 12 Minutes. That one had some famous actors in it.
Yeah. The Ascent. The Ascent was
The Ascent was a huge one, I think. A phenomenal job for just a team of 12 developers. Like the game looks beautiful.
Yeah.
I played through and beat the game. It's pretty fun, but it is clunky and it has its issues.
Yeah. Well, I played it, dude. I was lost in the beginning. I'm like, what the? It drove me crazy, and I had to end my stream, and I started the stream back up just because I wanted to get past it, because I didn't even shoot anybody, but I didn't realize in the beginning to open that first gate, you had to hit a certain button.
You had to hold down Y, I believe.
I had to watch somebody play it, and I was like, oh my God, are you serious?
I think they mentioned it briefly. So if you're not paying attention and you miss it,
dude, I missed it. I felt so stupid. I was like, dude. What is Monkey Boy said? I have the GTA Remastered Trilogy. I heard the GTA Remastered Trilogy was coming to PlayStation now. I'm going to sign up and play. Okay. It's coming to PlayStation now.
The full trilogy is not coming. Just GTA 3 Remastered. So one of the 3 titles is coming to PS Now. Similarly, San Andreas Remastered is coming to Game Pass day and date, though, rather than. I think in December is when PlayStation Now is getting GTA 3 Remastered, so a month after.
Gotcha. What do you think about this? I don't think this is going to happen. Bat Pixie said, I suspect Stadia is going to replace Stadia Pro with the Stadia Game Pass and replace a ton of games. I think that'd be counterproductive, because then why would you buy those games on? I don't know.
I think having a Game Pass or like maybe a premium option, like a Stadia Pro Plus, and it has a rotating library of certain amount of games.
Oh, okay. Games that don't stay, but then games that go, but then you can have higher quality games.
You could have more games instantly. I think that would be. I think they'll be really good for Stadia, because the big drawback to Stadia is that it's its own platform. Like a lot of these other services have kind of platforms tied to it. Xbox with Game Pass, Steam and Epic Game Store with GFN. Stadia doesn't have that luxury. Stadia is its own platform, and so you will have to rebuy those games.
Do we need a monkey to market or what? He said, I think Stadia is working on a Pro Plus tier, $15 a month. Get your 1440, 120 frames per second on the PC and 100 games from the backlog of Pro games. I mean, I bite. I guess I have to.
I think it's going to depend on the games. I would say I would sign up if it had specific like newer titles. Like the main reason why I really like Game Pass is it has a lot of newer titles dropping day and date.
See, here's the thing, to be honest, man, day and date is new. Subscriptions, when you think of subscription services, they never had day and date like new right? Like, okay, you think of like a Netflix, right? You know, they might have a day and date movie, but it's not something you like. You ever go to the movies and see a movie and be like, that wasn't that good, I could have watched it on Netflix, right? It's more of a downgrade. So I feel like Xbox, what they're doing to change the game is by actually having like AAA day and date games. You know, that's not typically something people do. That costs a lot of money. I don't see Stadia ever doing that. Let me not say ever, but I don't see that being in a wheelhouse. You know, they're not just going to all of a sudden have AAA titles day and date in a pass. I don't see that. What about you?
I could see it. I could see it, but only if they had their own first-party studios to supplement it. With them closing down SG&E, to me, it'd be hard to really push a system like that through Stadia. It'd be a lot of money, basically.
Yeah, it would. I think it would be. What do you think about this? Monkey said, here's what I'm going to happen. Here's what's going to happen with AT&T white label deal. AT&T is going to add a game streaming to their direct TV stream service. Additional games from the Stadia library will be ported. I don't even think it needs to be the Stadia library. AT&T probably do their own deals to get their own games. I mean,
Yeah, I think.
you know, the Batman
Well,
isn't even on Stadia, so that tell you
I
something.
I wanted to mention a few things about that. I think the
Mhm.
whole AT&T thing. I think they want to create their own subscription service with their own
Mhm.
games.
I think so.
Um, and I don't see them putting those games onto Stadia just because if you have it available on Stadia,
Yeah.
they would rather like look at Origin with PC. It took them forever to swap over to Steam because they only moved to Steam once Steam basically had a monopoly on the PC market. They wanted to sell their games through Origin because then they could take 100% of the profit. You know, if you're having to pay this other company extra money that could be yours, like why would you? And so that's
I'm right there with you.
I think what they should do, what AT&T should do, is add the games on as an addition with HBO Max, because HBO Max, you know, it has a lot of their products and stuff like
Mhm.
DC, since AT&T technically owns the DC comics.
Right.
That's why you're with the new Batman game, or the is it shoot is it
You talking about
Arkham? It's
the
Gotham
one
Knights.
that's
Gotham.
yeah,
I keep forgetting it because Arkham
yeah,
Knight's a game. Gotham Knights is
yeah.
coming next year. Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League is coming next year as well.
Mhm.
You've got the Harry Potter game supposed to come next year, and that's also an AT&T property. If they were to
Okay.
drop those three games into a subscription, streaming subscription service through HBO and like HBO Max,
Right.
I could see a fair bit of people signing up for that. If
Yeah.
they would just have to announce it and be like, "Oh, look, and you can play all the old Batman games. You can play the Lego games since Lego's
Mm. Yeah.
under them
Yeah.
as well." So that's what I see, because a lot of these
Right.
companies they want to reinvigorate their services and get more people on board, more
Right.
subscriptions,
Instead
because they're
of
just
tying in with Stadia, do their own thing. I mean, that's white
yeah.
labeling. Let me counter this with, about Pixie. It says, why buy games on Stadia if there is a Stadia Game Pass? Some same reason why Xbox allows you to buy games and have access to Game Pass. That's different. So that's not true. That's my problem with Game Pass. So forget Game Pass. We're going to talk about xCloud, because you got to view Stadia and xCloud the same. On xCloud, you cannot buy games and keep them in the cloud. So with Stadia, if they did do that, you would be able to, and then it wouldn't be an issue, right? Because it'd be like you could buy the game outright and then keep it, or you could play it on their Game Pass that you propose, and then say, you know what? If it leaves, then I could buy it, and let's say they give you a discount. Then you could still play it in the cloud. xCloud, you cannot do that, and until they do that, that's an issue for me. So
I
it's
do.
not the same thing.
I think that's the end game, I believe, with Xbox. You know,
Mhm.
Phil
Well, they said it
Spencer.
though. They announced it.
Yeah,
They did say
yeah.
they will get there. So
I think that's the ultimate goal, is
mhm.
to have your Xbox library in the cloud, play it from the cloud wherever you're at. So you can purchase a title on your Xbox, play
Mhm.
it on your TV, and say, "I'm going to take it with me." Grab your phone and go play it.
That's the ultimate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can see that vision with them unifying PC, Xbox, and now xCloud. They're trying to make an ecosystem rather than sticking to a single device.
Hey man, this is now. What about this? I mean, you don't have to answer. But Monkey Boy said, "How can you have a YouTube channel called Cloudy with Games based on cloud gaming, and you're going to talk about not talk about Stadia? Makes no sense unless you're getting paid. Unless you get paid. You know what's funny? The joke is we like to mess with everybody and say GeForce Now. I don't say money, but I say T-shirts and water bottles. But I mean
Yeah,
that is a point. That's a fair point. Cloudy with games, but you don't talk about Stadia. And Stadia, let's be honest, is still the most popular cloud service at this present day and time.
I would say we don't know which one's popular right now because Stadia doesn't list figures, so we don't officially know how many players
Well,
they have.
no. You don't. That will be the most profitable, but the most popular.
Well,
Everybody's talking about Stadia, whether it's good or bad.
name wise, I would say that's internet recognition, or something of that nature. But
Right.
in terms of like popularity of use, like
Okay.
who has the most users?
Okay.
Like how we say PlayStation is the most popular right now in the console scene because
Mhm.
they have the most
Oh
players.
yeah. You're right. You're right. But then
Um,
again, bro, I can't go a day without hearing about XCloud. I mean, Game Pass. To be honest with you, yes, PlayStation sold the most, but Game Pass is on everybody's tongue. I'm to be honest, when I think of console games, Game Pass, Game Pass, Game Pass, Game Pass. So I don't know.
uh, yeah, I haven't received any money from GFN, but I like the service. I've been playing through Kenna. The Kenna playthrough on Clouded with Games is entirely mine. I pay for the service, and I've pre-ordered for the premium tier because I want to see what it's like. I always like to test out the technology and try those things, and I do pay for it. I bought Kenna with my own money
Mhm.
on Epic Games Store, and I'm playing through it. Similar with Death Store. Granted, it was like $25 on Steam.
Okay.
There was a sale going on. I was like, gotta grab it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I pay for my own shit. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I mean, at the end of the day, it's cool with you. It's like when I defend Duncan sometimes. People get on Duncan when they bring up CGX. I'm like, bro, Duncan is just a member of one episode of a show. Like you can't group him in, with them. That's not fair, it's not fair. So same thing with you.
I'm not
Like
getting
you
paid to say, oh, it's so great, and
correct. You're just helping out. You're like, look, I'm helping out and doing reviews and stuff like that. So, to be fair.
I asked them. I
But
say,
it's
what do
all
you need
good.
me to do, and I do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's all good. It's optics. But I get it though. I mean, Monkey Boy, speculating that maybe the Cloudy team got a free
Their decision on
3080.
their decision on Stadia had nothing to do with anything with GFN. It was entirely behind the reason the mean comments and stuff that they constantly see on Twitter, on their YouTube
I
channel, through
mean,
their
I don't
posts.
know, man. That's such a cop out for me. Like I told Duncan before when we used to do
I
our show, when we used to do the Duncan and Cowboy tell it like it is. And he was like, yeah, man, people get, inbox me, blah blah blah. I said, man, I wish they would. Send them my way. I dare them. But I would have a lot
I
of
think
fun with
I,
it.
I
But
think I think the problem is that they're not trying to be negative towards Stadia yet. Consistently, they're seeing a lot of the same people still coming to the YouTube channel, leaving comments, and
man,
at a certain point, it gets to them, like because
I'm sure it
they're doing this stuff
does,
content weekly.
but
They're doing it
listen,
so every week they're seeing these comments, and
make
I
them.
completely understand it.
Make them.
I'm cool. Like I'm the type of person that I don't give a fuck. You can say that.
Right,
I
right,
don't
right,
care.
right.
As I said before, I said it was ultimately their decision as a team. I
Right.
said I'm fine and I support whichever way
Right.
they
Each
do,
other.
and I'm cool with that. And I understand that it does affect their mental health that they're constantly seeing this stuff, and that's why I'm like, yeah, go for it.
Okay,
If
let me
this is
ask you this.
yeah,
So here's my thing, right? I feel like I told Duncan myself, I said, listen, dude, you were a big supporter of Stadia, and one day you're like, they're gonna die. And you can't just think you could say that and nobody would be like, what? What the hell? I literally, bro, I didn't watch Cloudburst that day, right? I'm minding my business as I should. And
to be
somebody
fair,
contacted me and said, did you hear what Duncan said? I said, no, I didn't know. No, what? And I didn't really know Duncan that well at the time. Oh, you know the Duncan dude. I was like, oh yeah, that dude. What? Bro, he said Stadium's gonna die. I was like, who the hell would say that? He did not say that. No, he did. I was like, oh, what? So I go watch it just to hear him say it. I'm like, what? So I get, like he said, other people said it, but it was pretty compelling. Now I did say to him personally, I said, dude, like, and I'm not saying he needs to love Stadia or like Stadia, but he definitely has said, he definitely painted a good enough narrative that, And I know he say he loves Stadia so much. That's why it's so hard. But it's so hard to 100% believe that. And certainly, I don't know. So I feel like he gets the rap of he's the anti-Stadia guy, which I don't really think he is, but he gets that rap. But at the same time as I'm considered an a-hole, I'm going to take it on the chin because I know I sometimes say some stuff. Like a really good close friend of mine, Demaculus, got mad at me 2 weeks ago. We did a show, and he was like, bro, he got mad. He's like, I feel like your heart, if you say you don't care, I mean, I kind of don't. I don't mean me a bad guy. I just don't care about certain stuff. But I wear it. I feel like Duncan doesn't, he acts like he don't get why certain people. Now, I get people getting extra and stuff. That's not cool. But I feel like, bro, just own it. People think you don't like Stadia, and you said enough things to make them feel that way. All right, can we just?
I believe I can't say for Duncan himself,
Okay.
but I'm pretty sure he's similar to me that I like Stadia a lot. I think it has some of the best tech in the industry right now with cloud gaming. But I see a lot of mistakes that it's making, a lot of things that they could do to really improve the service and in a way that would cater more towards gamers in general. The marketing is one that I definitely think that they really suffer with, and that they could definitely improve on. There's simple things that Stadia could do to really change their image and you're not seeing a lot of change or growth with that.
You could hire a PR person.
They need to, but it's just frustrating, man. And I'm frustrated with it too. You know, I got in a little bit late. I came when they announced the free tier and they were giving away Pro for 3 months. I think I got there for guilt. I was like, I just beat I think it's called Rhyme, which is made by the same developer, and I was like, hey, they're offering this for free. Let me check it out. And then Gta came out, and I knew your boy Twiz, and I helped make one of the levels that he won, like prize money for.
Oh, cool! That's what's up.
For that, and that was really cool. Creating the levels and stuff, and we had several projects on his side that was a lot of fun, and we had a blast with Gta. Gta had so much potential, and I do feel like Stadia squandered it without like really promoting that title, especially since it was an exclusive at the time. I think they could have really promoted that and pushed it a lot harder. But
maybe they did, and that's why Facebook bought it.
I think Facebook bought it because they saw the potential in it. I saw a lot of potential with that game.
Yeah.
I think I bought Ember when that came into early access. I bought Baldur's Gate 3. I bought Avengers. You know, Avengers. I played Avengers entirely on Stadia. So.
And you never play with me, really, no. Maker. This is something
I didn't really get into the end game type stuff. I started a bit, but then I just stopped playing. It was a grind, and it felt like a lot of the levels were kind of samey, and I just got bored of it.
Yeah. What about this? See, I don't know anything about this, but he's pretty much saying that he don't know how it's going to work that well on phones as they advertise with. I mean, he's exaggerating, I guess, with 12 logins. Do you think it's not going to be as fleshed out on mobile devices?
No, I think it would be fine on mobile devices. I don't see any issue with that. I will say with GFN, I've only had to log in, I think only like once or twice with, I know once with Steam and once with Epic, but I can't remember the last time it forced me to log into the service. But I don't have two-factor authentication on either of mine.
Right. I mean, if that's the simple thing to do, then, you know, people have an option. So, hey, you can do that. Well, anyways, my wife has came home. Dude, you and me, we could talk gaming all the time.
I talk gaming all day. I love gaming. That's why I like talking about it. So, you know, I also game a lot as if I have some spare time when I'm working, which I technically am now, but
yeah, right. Well, let me read my Monkey Boy. All right, let's make this the last one. I told him he does come up with some really good stuff. Sometimes he damn near have to, get the show going because he's asking all this stuff. He said you wouldn't sign up if Stadia offered that 1440, 120 frames, but you're willing to pay GeForce Now $200 a year, and it doesn't include any games. That doesn't make any sense. I think a lot of people.
I think it makes sense for me, especially since I do play a lot of PC games. But I also play console. Like I got a Switch right here, and I got an Xbox over here somewhere, and I was actually playing Back 4 Blood on my Series X. So I don't just play gaming on my PC. But what GeForce Now allows me to do is purchase those PC titles. Like a key one for me was Kenna Bridge of Spirits, because I would have to say it is one of the better games that I have played this year. It's really beautiful, great gameplay, and I like it a lot. So, and GeForce Now is currently.
Which game is Kenna? Isn't that the one where you it's like a little girl or something? She got like a stick or something, right? I thought that was like a PlayStation title.
It is. It's a PlayStation and PC. So
cool.
PlayStation has it and PC has it.
Here's the problem. I keep saying it over and over. Anybody that's a 95% keyboard and mouse player on a PC just doesn't have the need for Stadia.
I play Kenna with this wired Xbox controller. So I wouldn't say it's necessarily for everybody to use keyboard and mouse. Mm-hmm. A lot of the platformers and stuff like that, I use this like Fist. What was the game was called?
Yeah, with the rabbit.
Yeah, Forged in Shadow Torch, I believe is what it's called. Yeah, that I use controller. It's a Metroidvania-esque. So Metroidvania-esque platformers, fighters, all those I play with a controller. Right. With Brawlhalla, which is on GeForce Now, I would say, that's a controller game right there.
Yeah, I play Brawlhalla, but you still, Maker, just told us that you built a PC, so we can't let you pass.
I'm mainly a PC gamer for sure. Right. But I would say that I love my console gaming as well.
Yeah. What's your favorite game? I don't know. Everything's on everything. I was about to ask you, what's your favorite console game that's not on PC, but you would probably have to pick like a PlayStation.
It'd be like a game. Zelda, probably.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Nintendo. Yeah. That's the one thing about Nintendo, man. They're
actually the original Last of Us, probably.
Yeah. Did you know that's my number one? I think that's the best game I ever played. That's number one on my list because
probably
when it came out, the story amazing, the controls was amazing, the graphics was amazing. When it came out, nothing like the experience I got when I played that game from those three pillars to beginning to end. I can't say, like, maybe I might have played a game that was a little more fun, but it lacked this and that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that game had everything. And I'm not a big crafter. That's one of my things I don't like, but it had crafting. That's probably my least favorite thing in the game, but the crafting wasn't bad.
Yeah.
That's my favorite game and my best played game is two different things, though. I'm not going to say it's my favorite game that of all time, but it's the best game. It's my number one best game I believe I've ever played. We'll have to say that.
Yeah, the voice acting, the story, it really, like, those hard hitting, like, I would say of the last like 10 years, there are three games that have really captured, where it gripped me to the point where I feel like I will always remember the games. Like for the rest of time, and that's The Last of Us is like the first one that I think of. The Witcher 3 is another, and then Nier Automata, which that's more of a kind of very anime-esque, I guess.
When did you play The Witcher? When it first came out?
Yes.
Okay. See, I played it maybe a year and a half ago for the first time. And so late because everybody talked about it. So I gameflied it one day, played it on PlayStation 4. And I was just like, no. So I feel bad that I cheated myself out of it, experience that everybody else loved.
The Bloody Baron quest really gripped me with Witcher 3. But I would say there's a lot of little side quests. Like I would just to explain a quick one that really it showed the love that they put in a lot of the side missions for that game. One of them is it's a guy who's kind of a photographer. He has this kind of makeshift device. He's like a image capturing device is what he calls it, and he pays you as a mercenary basically to protect him while he tries to take photos of things, and he does dumb stuff to try to rile up wolves and stuff so he can get a cool photo, and then Geralt has to like fight them and kill it. And there's a really cool scene right after that mission because he's like, I'll need you tomorrow here, sit by my other guards and talk with them. And so you're sitting by the fire with the other guards, and Geralt complains to the guys. He's like, yeah, he's an asshole. You know, he's like doing all this ridiculous stuff, making me work harder. And the guy goes, you know why he's taking these photos, right? It's for his daughter. She's sick and she can't go outside. And he's trying to capture these images so she can experience this. Right. And it's just there's a lot more depth to it than a lot of these side missions that you typically play.
So I played the beginning where you had to kill the Griffin. The Griffin kept coming back and forth. So then when I beat it, I was like, all right, I wanted to do that. And then I sent it back. So I didn't get that. That was, the first main mission. But so that's how The Last of Us was. I remember, and I won't spoil it for anybody who didn't play it. And if you didn't, please play it. But I remember a buddy of mine, and this back on PlayStation 3. Remember, it was a PlayStation 3 game. And a buddy of mine's, he came over and I said, hey, I'm going to play this new game, The Last of Us. Bro, the first 20 minutes, and you know what happens, go by, he said, stop. I'm going to PlayStation. I'm buying a PlayStation 3 in that game. We paused the game and went to GameStop, and he bought a PlayStation 3 and that game. That game, I personally, when people say, oh, games are system sellers, I personally watched somebody purchase a system because of that, the first 20 minutes of that game. Like, that's a true story.
One of the best intros of any game, period. And you cannot tell me it's not. It's so gripping, that first 20 minutes. And I loved it.
Because games, TV shows don't even take it to that level sometimes. Okay. And you know what I'm talking about. And, dude, and not for nothing, I used to play the multiplayer like crazy. Before I got into Destiny, I played the hell out of the multiplayer. It was just fun for me.
Where's the multiplayer on the second game? They never released it.
Hold on, I got three things. Where's the multiplayer for the second game? Where's the Resident Evil multiplayer? And Resident Evil 8 multiplayer? And who knows if we'll ever get the multiplayer for Cyberpunk? Those three AAA games that promised a multiplayer and we never got them.
Technically, I would say The Last of Us 2, they already announced that it looks like they're going to make the multiplayer for Last of Us Part 2 into its own game rather than putting it with the game, which I think kind of sucks.
Is it going to cost us money?
It will, yeah.
Because people bought that game. Well, no, when I bought it, actually, you know what? When I bought it, I don't think I thought it had the multiplayer when I bought it. I thought it was up in the air. I was like, is it gonna have multiplayer or not? So I got it anyway. But let me see. He said, what I mean by existing Stadia library is that the fact that those games are not Linux ports, but the developers own the original Linux copies, per se those will be added to AT&T easily.
I wouldn't say easily. Like you can move it over easily. Like that, the idea of just having the Stadia library onto the AT&T library is a good idea, but the thing is, AT&T will then have to get the licenses to have those games because AT&T will be the front end of the service. Right. So that's where the real work will be is AT&T negotiating deals to have those titles over.
Right, because it's not like Stadia owned the games. You know what I'm saying? Stadia might have got those games on their
They have the license to put it onto the Stadia service.
Correct. Yeah. Correct. Yeah. And Bruce said, great show, guys. Good conversation. Yeah, you know what's cool? Man, every single time I spoke to Maker, man, I enjoyed it, man. You're very articulate. You have a lot of knowledge, and you're very welcoming. So I could do this all night. We just have a great great conversation. It's cool.
I just love games, and you know, tech-wise, I do know my way around a few things, but that's just, you know, I went to school for networking, and I have a degree. I have a job in tech,
Okay.
and like we deal with like software licensing and stuff like that. So when people talk about like, oh, it's easy to get software onto these devices, but to have it go through, you have to contact the company, you have to run through checks with IA, there's so many processes just to have it available for people, that it's a lot of work in itself. That takes it's something that takes months of like communication. So
I want to say what's up to Ryzak. Said, did I miss it? Miss what? I was talking about GFN, I guess. I don't know. And so, you ready for the speculation?
what's up?
I'm hitting you. Monkey Boy said NVIDIA is giving away free access to GeForce Now 3080 services to a large group of streamers on YouTube. I have confirmation it's fact. Oh, man. Tell them to give me one. Listen, they want to sweat. How about that? You know what's crazy though?
If they are doing that, I haven't been told
you're
anything.
Like, hey,
as of before,
give me one.
I'm just kind of like a side guy at Cloudy,
Right.
so I only get told like a few things. Like when stuff happens, they're like, "Oh, just a heads up, the day after we're gonna do this," and I'm like,
right,
oh, okay.
You're like, all right.
Yeah.
Listen, hey, listen, tell them at best you're an intern.
Yeah, basically, I'm fairly new at Cloudy. I've only been there for a few months, and so I wouldn't want them to trust me with like the most trusted type stuff if that is the case.
Yeah, listen, that's how I feel. Don't even listen. Don't even. You know what the thing is? Always keep me out of trouble. I'm not a nosy person. So there's times my wife be like, "Oh, guess what happened?" Like, you don't even need to tell me because I don't really care. Like, I'm privy to whatever knowledge I need to know. Other than that, I've always been like that. I'm not nosy. Like, I don't really care what other people are doing. You know, I'm not like, oh, let's hear the gossip. The only time I'm gonna do that is if I'm doing a show, you know, and I'm just dolling it up, you know, my own hype machine. But I would really care less. You know, everybody's entitled to whatever. But
I don't really get a lot of the drama. I'm cool with people really liking Stadia. The problem I have is when people try and push that on to somebody else. If somebody doesn't like Stadia, they don't like Stadia. You know.
But honestly, I see it more the other end. Maybe because I'm a Stadia guy, so people don't have to do that to me. I literally had like Ace. I mean, it's a story. I can say it. Dude,
like, I can see people who think that like false things about Stadia, that you have to buy the subscription and stuff like that. I can understand trying to.
I've had the people who like everything. This is the division. It's the people who like only Stadia versus the people who like Stadia and everything else. And I've had people who like Stadia and everything else say, dude, why you only cover Stadia? It's a bigger world out there. It's more cloud gaming stuff. You need to stop doing only Stadia. Do more, like literally. And it's like, dude, I just like Stadia. That's, you know, but I've had that though. You know, that's a legit thing. You know, that people want you to, you know. But I will say this though, go back to Monkey Boy's thing. It is funny though that out of nowhere there was people putting posts up. I'm not covering Stadia no more. I'm not covering Stadia no more. I seen 3 people. I was like,
I know Dr. Spaceman retracted it because I think some of the people were frustrated with a lot of, you know, the comments that they're getting and stuff stuff spewed at them.
Right.
Like I know for a fact there's a content creator or two that has said some not so great things about Cloudy, and it's just kind of getting tiresome because a lot of those people who do that stuff come from the Stadia crowd, and to try and alleviate that constant, almost feels like a barrage, I guess, of those comments. They want to slow the Stadia content down. They're cutting content more so, not out of not covering the news. They did say anything big news through Stadia they will cover. It's just this weekly type stuff where it feels like there's constant, you know, people coming at them in the comments.
I don't know. I feel like I don't know what content I could be doing and somebody. I mean, I'm a different guy. I mean, you know, but I would never cut out anything. That's just weird to me. You're a content creator. You've been covering something for damn near 2 years, and you decide, and it just look, the optics is funny on the
I can
heels
tell you
of
right now,
this,
they want to cover it.
right.
The problem is, I've seen the chats. You know, I've talked with them, and the frustration that they have to vent out each week of like someone posting
Okay,
a
let me
post
ask
from
you this.
Twitter and
Let me ask you this. You okay? I'm gonna tell you this from a Stadia guy. I feel like it's more backlash. I don't even want to say they. Let's just be clear. I feel like it's Duncan. People don't like Duncan because they feel he doesn't like Stadia, right? Let's just say it's that narrow
I
minded.
think Duncan gets a lot of flack when he really doesn't deserve as much as he's getting. You know.
Well, I'll say this. I do recall him being the center of Stadia is gonna die, right? Even though somebody else might have said it first, but for whatever reason, it stuck with him. I will say that. When and I give him some credit, my Keeping It Real with the Cowboy got popular because I invited him to come on, and he was cool enough to say yeah. And I had other people, oh, I'll come on. And I just uncalculated. I said, nope, I want Duncan first. I don't mind you coming on, but I need to do my first show with Duncan. And Duncan said, cool. And he came on, and it kind of gave me a little more popularity, right? But it was so much so I wanted him on because even my optics at the time was like, what is wrong? What has Stadia done to this guy? So I get where people feel like, why Duncan? But I could myself, like, it was one point in time, man. We can't erase history, but the dude was kind of like, if there was pitchforks and flames, he was running with it first. I'm just saying.
I think his initial reaction. I think his initial reaction was, I mean, I was kind of taken aback when SG&E did happen, because that was one of the things I was looking forward to, was cloud native titles and the push for that. Like, look at Xbox; they're already talking about their cloud native titles that they're working on now. So it's a bit frustrating. And when he says that like Stadia is dead, to me, I more so saw it as not. He thinks Stadia, its current objective, is dead. Stadia is no longer what it once was.
It's optics because you know what's cool? So what I feel that wasn't fair to Duncan is whenever he would have a conversation, it's typically with a bunch of people. And someone will bring it up and he will start to explain, and someone will cut him off, and then he'll never finish his sentence. So when I wanted him on is because I wanted just him. And I got to grill him and ask him, and he explained that to me. He did. He said, I'm not saying it's gonna die. I'm saying that it's either gonna change his name. He broke and spelled it out. But people just see it as, oh, he said it's gonna die, it's gonna end. And people, it's like sports game. And somebody said the Cowboys, they're never gonna ever win a Super Bowl again. You'd be like, that's a bold statement. So something's gonna die is also a bold statement. Obviously, Cowboys. I mean, no, it's a bold statement. Either way, that was a pretty good analogy. But Ryzak said this, and I'm gonna read it because I gotta put a little salt in there. He said, "Vet is getting bad too, constantly commenting on posts, LOLing, egging on, and then gets defensive for show." I mean, some people do that. And Vet does it to me sometimes. And he was in here.
I think Vet's a bit fed up with Stadia, but that's it's similar to how like Andy Morphs is, where they're just kind of on they're over the edge for Stadia. Like,
yeah, but you know what's crazy though? People act like Stadia is a person. It's so weird. Andy's a bit fed up. Vet's fed up. Did you marry Stadia? Because I don't recall going to the wedding. Well, why wasn't I invited to the wedding?
I think it's more so like if you've invested in a company, like technically they've spent money in this thing, and if they see this thing that they've spent money in go in a different direction that they want it to, I think they have every right to complain about it and to get upset.
I mean, listen. You spend money on something, you can complain or whatever. But I just feel like there's a narrative. It's different than you went to Walmart and bought a mini fridge, and the icebox isn't as good as it should be, right? And so you go and put a post out there and say, "Hey guys, don't buy Frigidaire or whatever because the icebox is not good." This is like people, man. It's like I never seen nothing like this in gaming ever. It's like, man, people are really like, and I get we could say, the Stadia people are kind of toxic, but the people who don't like Stadia is on something else, man. I'm like, damn, I used to not like, I was a bigger fan of Genesis than Nintendo, but man, I wasn't like that. I was a bigger
I would
fan of
say
PlayStation than Xbox.
Xbox is getting a lot of it, but that's just because they went so long without any really successful title.
Oh
And
yeah,
so
Xbox.
there's the narrative of, Xbox don't have games, where's your God of War, where's your Spider-Man, that's the narrative right now against Xbox. Yeah.
True.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, guys.
Sorry for keep going on.
No,
We're
listen,
just gonna keep talking.
If my wife wasn't here, I would just keep on. We started watching the Chucky series yesterday, so which was pretty cool. The Child's Play. So we're probably gonna watch an episode of that, and it's not that late, so yeah, we could probably watch an episode. It's only 10, so I figure we,
I've been meaning to watch you did a review of Dune, right?
Yeah, yep, out of the theater,
did you
fresh
like
out of the theater. So I've seen the original in 1984 when I was a kid. I typically watch like Halloween. I watched the first one and went straight to the movies. I like to have that fresh comparison. I just didn't feel like the old one held up that great, even in my memory, so I didn't watch it. But honestly, spoiler free. I love to do spoiler frees unless we do a spoiler discussion where we dissect it, right? I wasn't that in. I think the story was good. I think the characters was great. My issue was the directing. Um, it was such a slow burn that I felt they could have literally did away with probably 45 minutes of the movie, maybe 35. Right? The movie's 2 hours and 35 minutes, and it's just such a slow burn. And I guess I get the character development. Listen, Dune was a big deal back in the day. You're doing character development, they're gonna have two. So it's okay, cool. So but it's a slow burn. My wife liked it. My other buddy liked it. My one buddy who was gonna go with us, and he ended up going watching on HBO Max. He's going back to see it in the RPX. Right? He liked it that much. I'm not a hard critic. I'm usually more sympathetic, but I watch it out of sheer, like, I'm more into entertainment. I want to sit down and be like, whoa, that was a great movie. I'm entertained. I'm giddy. I don't critique too much on, certain stuff. So I feel like, that's me as, the entertainment guy. It's a slow burn, Now it's methodical slow. Like, you might be like, dude, it was pretty good. Like, it was good for character development, but I felt they could have chopped it. They could have.
I feel like it was missing something. Like, I think it needed. There's no closure to it because there's a second one, and so right. I think that's for me. That's the big thing that's really holding it back.
So you did see it?
Yeah. I think.
Okay, I was trying to talk and not spoil it. Yeah. So
yeah, I will say it's a good build up. I think like the way it's going is like it feels like the beginning of a ramp up, and I mean I've seen the original
one's too. Maybe the second one's gonna get you. Yeah.
It's gonna be like what it's like how Lord of the Rings, like it Return of the King was that
right. Yes.
That big pinnacle. And I think that's what the second part's gonna be, is it's just ramping up.
That battle with the goat, when the ghost came out to save them at the end. Was that Return of the King, right?
Yeah, well, it was Gandalf showed up.
Remember when the Riders of Rohan? And then they
they were losing the battle, and there's like this huge army, and epic. And then that. So I'm excited to see what Dune 2 will bring them.
You know what bothered me too is dude, it was like 3 set piece. You know what I'm saying? They was on the one place, the desert, and like the cave, or inside of that was it. That, I felt like they didn't really go many places. The movie was set between 2 stages, and that was it. So I guess that was a little like bland for me. It helped with me and the whole process of the slow burn for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I do think it had ways to improve. I enjoyed it, but that's just my take on it. But I really like the character development type stuff. You know, that's why I said I like Psychonauts 2, is a lot of it delved with characters and their growth. But yeah, we should really close up before
Yeah.
I hold
Well,
you.
Ryza gave you some credit too. He said, Maker Chaos, thanks for coming on our shows, chatting. I appreciate your views and chats. You know, good stuff. Yeah. Hey, you know what's
no
cool,
problem.
man? I'm happy to talk to you. I'm happy to have you on here. I'm happy that if anybody ever looked at you like I used to look at you and get to hear you talk and stuff, like, oh man, that dude's a cool dude. And then you realize like, oh, he's, you know, it's pretty cool. What's going on, Evans? But yeah, so let's get out of here. Let's see. What is this about GeForce Now? We talked about GeForce Now a little bit
Yeah,
earlier.
you can go back and check it out.
Yeah, you're gonna have to, yeah, definitely. What's up, Dave? How's it going, man? So we're gonna get out of here. Maker Chaos, my guy. I love talking to you. Anytime if you're ever doing your own content or stuff, I would be welcome to jump on. You got a permanent invite, like I said, on Wednesday nights when I do that thing. And you know, listen, you're a good guy with me, man. And you know, so and I feel like you're a good fit with Cloudy and them too. And I still like those dudes over there too. So you know, Gunk is my guy. So either way, good stuff, man.
Yeah, and I like checking out some of your content too. I've seen a few of your reviews and stuff like that, as well as your, even though you're the Stadia guy.
As I have my intervention, right? That's fine. Fair enough. All right, guys. Well, me and Maker are gonna get out of here. You guys have a good night, and you know, see you guys. You know, on my channel, all of my stuff is on there. If you scroll down, literally my whole schedule is on there. So I stream all week. So catch me at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. I'm streaming. With that said, we're gonna get out of here. You guys take care. What's going on, guys? This is the all-purpose champ, aka the king of content, aka I'm a cowboy. This is the reason why you should check out this channel. So let's